this video is about, as the title suggests, tabs. A friend asked me how do you read tabs and just basically how to read them, and it was easier for me to make a video and send on the link to him. So this is said video. So I shall begin. So tabs are set up as such. You have 6 lines, and these lines represent the guitar strings. Self-explanatory so far. So they go like this, and this is the bit that affects up. This is the bit that affects up some people for some reason. You go from the high E to the low E, and all the strings in between are B, G, D, and A. It goes in that order. So basically, that string, which is the low E, is on this end, and the high E is on this end. Okay? So once you know that, you can start reading tabs straight off. Some other things, so chords in tabs are written as such. So if I go straight down, take out a section there, and put, say, A minor, which is, if I draw this up here, 1, 2, that kind of shape. So for instance, so that is an open string, first finger, first fret, second fret for the next 2 fingers, open, and then you don't do anything with that low string. Okay? Sometimes chord diagrams can be hard to understand, like this one, which I've butchered. Okay? But if I was to write that in tab, I could make sure that a student would fully understand it by going like this. Okay? So that shows me that I have to play nothing on the open string, but play it open, because that's what a 0 represents. First fret, second fret, open, and it will play this. The X means you don't play that string, it's a blank note. So you don't play it. Or, in other terms, and most of the time it is written like this. You just don't write anything in. Okay? Now, as I said there, X means blank. So it means you play the note, but you don't produce a note. So in other words, you're playing to get a percussive sound. Like that. Okay? Now, next are notes. So tab doesn't really go over chords. Chord progressions are much better to use for that kind of thing. So unless you're learning new chords that incorporate tab, so for instance, jazz. So you get that kind of thing. So you go from playing the chord to doing, which would be tab. So for that kind of stuff, tab is more useful than chord progressions. Also, now on to the next bit. So, next thing would be actual notes. So, like I said here, this is A minor. And if I was to go on and extend this, other things you might see in tabs are strumming patterns. So, telling you which way to strum. So, that's a downstroke, that's an upstroke, that's a downstroke if you're following the orientation of the strings. If you're following the orientation of how it looks, it will be up, down, up. Most of the time you will actually just say down, up, written as D, U. Much prefer it this way than that. Instead of saying which way the string should be strummed, it's easier to write it this way than to tab it out, in a sense, to convey it better. So next thing is, if you're doing notes, it'd be written 0, 2, 0. And that tells you which order the notes are played. So I'm playing 0, 2, 0, and then continuing with the progression then. So I played that wrong, I should be playing. Okay, I'm adding an extra open note, so I should write that in. So I'm playing. Okay, so going from that, little things on tab that should be noted. Get rid of all this. Little things that should be noted are H, P, S, X, and B, P, M, and that's all of them. I think all of the most common ones you would come across basically. So H is a hammer on. So for instance, I'll be using the lowest string for this example just so I don't have to write out 6 lines. So for instance, if you're going from 3, H, 5, you're going like this. You're using your other hand to produce a note. Okay? Another thing, it's the opposite, pull-offs. So you go from 5, P, 3. Okay? So you go that way. Next thing is slides. Now slides are written as SL. So for instance, you go from 5, SL, 7 say, and you go from okay, and generally tab doesn't tell you how fast to play this. Usually you would have to judge by the length of the song and how it's played in the song. Sheet music will tell you how long to play for and how the duration of that slide, I should say. X, as I said, is a blank. So okay, B is a bend, and they are usually written like such, and it will tell you either that by itself is a full bend, so going skipping to the 2 frets up to another whole note. So say if you start on D, for example, you're skipping D sharp and going straight onto E, and a half step is going 1 fret up. So I'm going from D to D sharp with a bend. So for instance, I'm playing this note, we're getting to it by bend. Okay, and a half bend is getting a note in between that, in a sense. PM is palm movement. So if you're playing chords, so a new song I'm learning is Strawberry Gashes by Jack Off Jill, and that song is like, you can still hear the chord in it, but I'm using my right hand over the bridge. So you can see that I haven't got a pick with me, but you can see that I'm playing like, and without my hand there, actually. So it's a very more percussive sound, but you're still getting that. So full on with all the tone open, it's instead of the. it's more percussive. So that's tab in a nutshell. I've been Ryan for Ryan's Guitar Stuff, and if this isn't clear, I'll be making sure they're very up on screen. So, see you.